Welcome back. I would like to talk to you today about one of my favorite things in this world. It's something I have a lot of passion about, and it's stand up comedy. And I want to talk about Dave Chappelle's latest stand up, as well as just stand up comedy in general. I feel that Dave Chappelle is not, he's in a different um, he's in the different leg of the game. Like if this was a race, he's not in the space of creating distance between him and his competitors. That's not the phase that he's in right now. The phase that he's in right now is that he's already built himself into an establishment. He's a standard piece of stand-up comedy now. He's been there for a while, but now he's enjoying it, and that's why the comedy has changed. Well, he's not like the way he used to be. Well, it's not 1997 anymore. It's not 2007 anymore. You're not going to get that Dave Chappelle again. This Dave Chappelle that you have has lived and learned and has a lot of observations. And he's using his comedic talent to get all this observation out. He's not the first comedian to do this, and he won't be the last. He's very successful, and he made some unique decisions that I think not a lot of people can make. And I think there was a massive reason why he talked heavily about walking away from $50 million and plus. So there's something to be said about that. So a lot of people think that he's punching down because he's so rich. Why is he punching down? Well, I tell you, comedy and stand-up comedy punches in all directions. You all know this. I know you know this. Look at South Park. Who haven't they given a black eye? Now, are they wealthy? Maybe. Are they rich? Probably. Are they poor? No. No. They make fun of poor people, though. They punch down. Why? If there's something to be observed and something to be corrected, something to enlighten, something to share, something to put into perspective, for a stand-up comedian, it doesn't matter what direction you punch. Up, down, across, left, right. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. To think that there's only one way to punch is not understanding comedy. Stand-up comedy is meant to punch in all directions. It's meant to make fun of kings and to make fun of street sweepers. It's to make fun of everyone. And there's a reason. There's a reason why comedy exists, and there's a reason why they punch in all the directions that they do. Change needs to happen. That's why. That's why they punch in the direction that they do. They make fun of rich people that are nice. Well, maybe there's something about them that needs to be highlighted. Just the way it goes. So Dave Chappelle is in a phase of his career where he's not blitzing to get past everyone. He already is. So now what is he doing? He's enjoying the vast area that he's carved out for himself, and now he's just sitting around like your uncle telling you funny stuff. That's the phase that he's in. So what's interesting about this is that he's still going on the biggest stages when all he's really doing is talking about what he thinks is interesting or needs to be highlighted and correlating real life experiences into it. So that creates a niche within the group of people that like him. If all the people that like him, there's going to be a niche of people within that group that are going to like this, and they're going to keep following this. So when comedians or any type of celebrity start serving their base without inviting new people, they don't really grow quickly. Or maybe they grow, but there's something different when you're entertaining people that aren't really your fans versus only emailing your diehard fans and telling them that you'll be in Florida this weekend. Because they already know your material, they just want to see you. Versus, hey, you don't know me, I'm going to do my best to make you laugh for X amount of money for an hour. It's, in my opinion, difficult and more brave to do that, to only basically talk to that niche within your group in hopes to expand that niche group to all these strangers. So all these people from all these different minority groups that don't like what he's doing, in my opinion, a comedic punch comes when it's needed. It's what happens. I want to, in a way of saying, like, you tell me an empire that lasted when they didn't allow satire and punching with comedy in any direction. There's a lot that have said, no, you don't have the freedom to do that. They're not around today. Is that the only reason why they fell? No. But is it one of a handful of reasons why? Yes. If you can't laugh at yourself, if you can't think critically of the situation when humor is brought to soften what really needs to be focused on, that shows to me that there is a perception that you're blacking out like a redacted government form. And that's not good. That's the equivalent of getting in the boxing ring and taping one eye shut. You tape your left eye shut, I'll tell you this, the left side of your face is going to be hamburger. You're not going to see any of those right punches coming. So an empire that doesn't like comedy, it's like taping one eye shut. Is it the Widowmaker kiss that ends you? No, but it's one of the things that got you blind to what came. So comedy needs to punch in all directions. Everyone that's been out of shape about Dave Chappelle needs to understand that stand-up comedy, there's a reason why so many dysfunctional people flock to that occupation. They live life. They got to experience life in an all too real situation and experience, and it gave them perception. It gave them a wide view in which to see the world. And when you're given so much pain, there will be a reaction from you. If you are under the waterfall of pain and misery and it's just pouring and smashing down on your shoulders and you're working every day and you don't know how to change it, it'll change you. It will. And stand-up comedians find the humor in misery. It's how they cope. It's how they cope. They can make people laugh at a funeral. They can make people laugh when someone accuses the other right at the wedding, right there at the altar, and it turns into this Jerry Springer type of dysfunction. These type of people can make levity, not to make fun and to hurt everyone's feelings with humor, but they're able to look at all these things and then just say something funny. Get everyone laughing. That's a gift. Because I tell you, everyone else that doesn't come up funny with all that pressure and misery dumping down on them while they're under that waterfall is misery. They complain. They complain and they sabotage everyone else around them. Rat everyone out. Do this, do that. And then the expression that's been made comes very true in these circumstances, which is misery loves company. Those people didn't get funny. Something missing in the equation. So stand-up comedians usually come from these type of environments. So when they start punching at whatever minority group that is been out of shape, it's coming from someone that sees the trees and the forest. That's why they're coming up with what they're coming up with. Do comedians make mistakes? Absolutely. Absolutely. But so do pilots when they crash planes. So do cops when they shoot people that had a a lighter in their pocket, not a knife or not a gun. Everybody makes mistakes. Doctors that are surgeons to cut you open and do the same procedure over and over and over again, kill people doing that. Everybody makes mistakes. And everyone that has a job has a purpose. Some of these purposes are completely stupid. Not the person working them, the job itself. I'm not mad at anyone working. I'm mad at the jobs that some of you people have to do. Some of these jobs you shouldn't be doing at all. But I'll tell you this though, the people that get paid to make you laugh, they do that. But there's something more to stand-up comedy, and it's throughout history. History supports this. Is that they fight for the soul of the nation that they make laugh. They do. They do. They sit and watch and see dysfunction and discomfort, and they find the funniest way that they can imagine at the upper levels of what their creativity will allow them, the upper levels of their cunning. And they find a way to make you laugh. But at the point of your laughter, you're admitting the problem. If you're not laughing, you're not admitting the problem. You're not understanding it. You're just choosing to be offended or unamused. But stand-up comedians, from the dawn of the first joke till here we are now, have been fighting for the very consciousness, the very soul of humanity, by getting us to laugh at things that deserve to be laughed at, that deserve to be reduced, that deserve to be ridiculed because there's too much piousness involved, or pick your word, pick your describing word. There's too much of X involved, so these comedians whittle away at it with a chisel of comments that get crowds laughing. And what does that do? It's like popcorn, more and more pop. People go to the next town and they talk about it. Oh, you haven't heard of this comedian? Check them out. So people got to understand that what you're wanting is to neuter a job that could not exist any other way. Well, let's just censor stand-up comedy and entertainment in general. Well, let's go do a little world visit right now where they do that currently, and I'm going to ask you, how awesome is their art? When's the last time you watched a Russian stand-up comic? When's the last time you watched a Russian sitcom? A Russian rom-com? When's the last time? I'll tell you what, they make great athletes. They make great workers. A lot of great fields in Russia. Lots. I'm not reducing them. But that country has a massive censorship. China is very unique. Art has been entrenched in their culture since the beginning. So they have it, and they're known for it, but it's censored. That's what makes them interesting in a lot of regards. But all I'm saying is that people got to give Dave Chappelle a break and stop saying that he's lost his groove. He hasn't lost a thing. He's just not talking to you about, inappropriate jokes now. It's just now what he wants to talk about, not anything to get a reaction out of you when he was competing. He's not competing anymore. He's coming out, dragging a stool onto stage, sitting down, pulling out a smoke, all relaxed. You go, and then he has a little thought. That's all it is. It's now story time with Dave Chappelle. So don't hate on him. Don't hate on stand-up comedy. In my opinion, if you have problems with stand-up comedy, my recommendation is to go through a whole plethora of people and watch their specials. Find out what's wrong with you. Why do you have problems with these things? Well, Josh, the reason why I do is because I had life have something do to me. True. But there isn't one subject that can't have a joke about it. Sorry. Just the truth of it. Well, what about this tragic event? There's something funny in there. It's insensitive to say it the way that I'm saying it, but it's true. Stand-up comedy fights for the soul of humanity. I put it on such a high regard that people think like, what do you view them like priests? Like a religion? I don't worship them. Mm-mm. I don't worship them. I don't revere them. There's no reverence that I have for a stand-up comedian. I look at a stand-up comedian like I look at a mechanic. They're needed and they have a job. And it's as simple as I put it. They're needed. They have a job. They serve a purpose. Their life is too complicated to say that all we need is mechanics and cops and doctors and lawyers. Life is way too complicated to cut it down to those simplicities. We need as much art as we need as much science. We need as much socialized jobs that deal with society as we do with law and order. We need these balancing acts to remain. It's what makes us what we are. We have laws that say don't kill anyone, yet it happens anyway. We know it happens, and there's a reason why. Life. It's as cruel and as tragic and as simple as that. So we need these musicians. We need these stand-up comedians. We need these actors. We just don't need them doing garbage. And if you think what he's doing is garbage, you're wrong. Dave Chappelle isn't producing garbage. It's just not for you. That's fine. I don't listen to every single musician, and I don't watch every single stand-up comic. They talk about things I don't care about. They have opinions and views that I don't care about. And I don't spend one single second tearing them down. Not one. And I just wanted to share that with you. Stand-up comedy, it's important. Don't overlook it. Every now and again, prescribe a couple specials in an evening for yourself, just to remember that you know how to laugh. All right? Thanks for dropping by. Sorry that I got a little passionate about this one, like I told you at the beginning. I think it's important. Thank you for dropping by.